Antoinetta Mosley of I Follow the Leader. I hope you are doing well today. We are going to be continuing the summer series of conversations with I Follow the Leader. This is episode 37, Courageous Choices Don't Be So Predictable. Episode 37, Courageous Choices Don't Be So Predictable. Last week, I started our summer series, and you are going to get a lot of me as your host over the next few weeks into September until we are at the first day of fall. And then we're going to have our amazing guest back on. You are going to be excited for the end of the year. This summer series, The Purpose, I am a courage curator and I want to help you consistently cultivate courage. This summer series is going to help you do that. Last week, what we talked about was creating a personal mission statement. And this week, I want to talk to you about not being so predictable. It is going to be a brief conversation, but hopefully powerful. I had the opportunity to see some great posts on Instagram, on LinkedIn this week, and that really helped to guide today's conversation. What does it mean by don't be so predictable? There was a woman who did a video on Instagram and she talked about a situation where she was up for a promotion. She did not get it. She felt she had worked extremely hard and was unsure why. Why did I not get this promotion? She later found out that unfortunately, the conversation with those who had to make the decision was she, as a Black female, would be upset if she didn't get the promotion, but she would stay. However, the white male, if he didn't get the promotion, would leave the company. And so they decided because she'll stay, we're going to go ahead and promote the person that who would leave. And so she talked about the situation and she said unfortunately she did stay, and so they were right. And it wasn't until later she found out what the conversation was. And she also started to doubt herself. She thought about, what did I do wrong, instead of thinking they are crazy to not promote me. I have put in the work, I have put in the time, I put in the effort. And I want to encourage you today to make a courageous choice. What courageous choices do you need to make? Which areas in your life do you need to stop being so predictable? Unfortunately, just like this woman said, I have seen it time and time again in my professional life where people assumed I was going to be very predictable and I would stay no matter how I was going to be treated. And I want to let you know, those who are in underrepresented groups, underestimated groups, we have to stop being so predictable, just like this woman shared. I love that. And I want to encourage you who are listening or watching today, do not be so predictable. Don't just stay because you have friends there or you feel guilty or you don't want to let others down. Unfortunately, people will pay us, will promote us, etc., according to what we will accept. I want to tell you a brief story that I actually have not said aloud. I've told certain people. However, I had a similar situation one time in a role that this woman had, and it was around pay equity. I am a person, if you've been around for a while, you know that one of my favorite quotes is, what gets measured gets managed, by Peter Drucker. I love measurement. I love benchmarking. I will take hours on end to really do my research around something. And so when it comes to raises or promotions in the past, before I was the CEO of my own company, I took those things extremely seriously and would do, a lot of research, right? Not just 10, 15 hours, but 20 hours plus of research around pay equity, etc. And I was going to be up for a role. I don't want to say too much because I like to call people in versus calling people out. And so I don't want you trying to guess What was this? Who was it? Doesn't really matter, right? The scenario was I decided, okay, based on all my research, this is the amount that I would feel comfortable taking. Again, based on pay equity, based on my knowledge, skills, and abilities, and based on benchmarking against others. Now, there weren't a lot of Black women to benchmark against. However, if we're paying people equitably, we should be benchmarking against similar experience, right? Degrees, etc. And so I said, right, this is a place who cares about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So the fact that there aren't that many Black women to benchmark off of should not make a difference. Unfortunately, there was a scenario where it literally came down to an extremely small amount of money. However, because I had done my benchmarking, I would not go below that amount because I was not going to go into a role knowing I was not making at the same level as others. Okay. And so if I am this, right, really good team player, I'm doing really well in my role. And this woman talked about that too, right? Unfortunately, in a lot of these scenarios, you're not going to hear that you're underperforming, that you're not doing enough, right? I've been called an overachiever in a role, which I don't believe in overachieving. I believe that I am a high achiever. So in another situation, I was called an overachiever in a role and still wasn't given a promotion. So somehow I was overachieving, but still not good enough to get a promotion. And so I want you to realize when you are a high achiever, it's often not about, right, what you're doing, etc. It's about, will you be predictable? Will you stay? It's usually not about performance. In this situation that the woman talked about, in these two situations I'm talking about now, there was no scenario where it was you're not performing or you shouldn't get this role or this money because you're not doing well enough. And so that can be very confusing to take in. How am I being a high achiever? How am I exceeding expectations? However, you will not pay me equitably or promote me, etc. And I want you to know, what did I do in this situation? Did I make the courageous choice or did I make the complacent choice? Well, I'm really excited to tell you that in both of these scenarios, actually, that I've described, I made the courageous choice. And this one was really hard, the one where it was over an amount of money that I wouldn't be paid equitably. I was depending on stepping into that role. I did not, there was like basically, right, it seemed like almost a 98% chance for them and for me that I was going to take this role due to the scenario. And so when I had to then not be predictable and I had to take that 2% chance of not taking the role and make that decision to walk away, it was an extremely difficult career decision for me. It was extremely discouraging, right? Humiliating. Everyone expected that I would go into that role. I was, basically groomed for that role. However, I knew I wouldn't be paid equitably. I am happy to say that, right, years later, that was such a courageous decision and it changed the trajectory of my career. If I would have stayed in that role, I would not be a full-time CEO today. And so I want you to know these choices that, right, are so difficult, so hard, where you're going to go against the grain, go against the status quo, maybe disappoint people, but celebrate yourself and be true to yourself. It's going to change who you are. That decision helped me to be so much more courageous because then when I went into the next role, right, I went in with a guaranteed bonus and just other things. And so quickly, just like that, I went into a scenario where I was able to make even more money with a guaranteed bonus based on certain performance. And so if I would have taken what I knew was not an equitable amount of pay, I wouldn't have been paid more in the next role, right? I wouldn't have negotiated better, and I wouldn't be where I am years later, owning my own business, making courageous decisions, having to make hundreds and hundreds of choices, right, every single week. And so I want to encourage you. Are you going to choose courage or are you going to choose complacency? Are you going to choose predictability or are you going to do what's best for your life, right? For your soul, for your passion, for your family? I see so many people, especially women and those in underrepresented groups, settling, feeling like they have to stay in roles, right? I'm not telling you just quit and do nothing. I was very strategic, right, in that first role that I talked to you about, where I was being told I was an overachiever, but there was, right, not really growth opportunities for me. I took the time to find another role. In this other scenario, because there was this 98% chance I was going to take the role, everyone was scrambling. I didn't have as much time. However, because I had made that choice and had the faith in my decisions, right, I got into a place pretty soon after. So do not be so predictable. Something else that I saw that I wanted to share with you that really made me smile. And for those watching, I am going to screen share it. For those who are listening, I will read it to you. I saw this post on LinkedIn and it says, I am a Black woman, and yes, that's my rate. I'll repeat it again. I am a Black woman, and yes, that's my rate. I love that. I saw someone post it on LinkedIn, and I will credit her. And I just thought it was so great, so beautiful, because so many times people feel like because you are in one of these underrepresented, which Arlen Hamilton calls underestimated, because you're in these underestimated groups, you're going to take it of anything. You're going to be predictable. You're going to stay around. You're going to take a lower rate. You're going to take a discount. And just unfortunately, as a business owner, right, these things that I've dealt with and these inequities, they haven't gotten better, right? Unfortunately, people think there's this glass ceiling that you shatter. It's just not true. If you're in these underrepresented groups, you may have more access, more opportunity. However, there will still be a lot of people who do not think you deserve to make a certain amount of money. You do not deserve to be paid a certain amount of money, not because of your performance, but because of their bias, because of systemic issues, etc. And so I want to encourage you to make courageous choices. Be around those who are going to celebrate you, not tolerate you. Something really disappointing is in 2021, Black Women's Equal Pay Day was on August 3rd. This year, it is going to be on September 21st. That is a 49-day difference. 49-day difference. And so, something that National Today said is, unfortunately, the pandemic and social unrest has amplified existing inequities, especially for those in those underrepresented groups. Last year, what the president says was, the earlier the day arrives, the closer we're getting to pay equity. So unfortunately, you're telling me that for people who look like me, and I'm going to share some other stats with those who are even later in the year than September, that each year it's getting worse for us. Pay equity is getting worse in 2022 and not better for Black women and other women of color. And I think that is because so many of us are willing to be predictable. If we are offered less, if we are offered a discount, if we are told to do more work for the same pay, we stay. We don't say no. And that needs to change. I am a representative of someone who decided I'm not taking it anymore. And I can let you know, while courage isn't comfortable, it has made my life so much better, right? And so I want you to know that you can cultivate courage. I am here for you. Please feel free to reach out. Each month, I offer a few courageous chats to cultivate courage. And so reach out to me. We can schedule that just to help people in underrepresented groups to make more courageous decisions, because courage can be cultivated. It can be cultivated. And so I need you to know that. If right now this feels so scary, what do I do? What are decisions I can make? I want you to know you can cultivate it. You can get to that point where you say, I know my worth and I am going to accept being treated a certain way. I am going to screen share one more time for those who are watching with me. And this is just the chart of the 2022 equal pay days. And this comes from AAUW. And so we started with Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders on May 3rd. LGBTQIA plus was June 15th. Mom's Equal Pay Day is coming up next week on September 8th. Black Women's Equal Pay Day, September 21st. Native Women's Equal Pay Day, November 30th. And Latinas Equal Pay Day, December 8th. And so, unfortunately, you can see how marginalized and typically underrepresented groups are faring. And what does that mean? If you're new to Equal Pay Day, to give the example of Black Women's Equal Pay Day, what it means is that Black women are paid 58 cents for every dollar paid to white men. To give that next example, for November 30th, Native Women's Equal Pay Day, they are paid 50 cents for every dollar paid to white men. And so it's basically the amount of days in the year it takes for you to make as much money as a white male does. That is not okay. The situation I talked about with this amazing woman on Instagram, who's actually in a very powerful role, is not okay. That just because it was predicted she would stay, that she did not get the promotion. It is not okay that I was told you're doing great performance wise, but you're not going to be paid equitably. You're not going to be paid the same as your white counterparts. And I want to let you know, courageous choices are going to require cultivation. Again, I am here for you. Reach out to me. We can have a 20-minute cultivation chat. I gift a few of those every month. And then if you are really serious about making some changes, we can go a bit deeper and have a 90-minute strategy session or a 60-minute coaching session around courage cultivation. Really, thank you all for your time today. This was our second part of our summer series. If you didn't listen to the mission statement one, check it out. I challenge people to create their personal mission statement. So important. Had a few takers who are willing to make that decision to help themselves. And so you can even view on my page a testimonial from an entrepreneur who is so grateful to have that opportunity. I look forward to speaking with you again next week in our summer series. If this conversation was helpful, please let me know. Let us know in the comments what resonated with you. Do you need to make more courageous choices? What areas in your life are you really unpredictable that you actually need to take ownership of? Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great weekend. And if you are looking for some what I call courage candy, if you need help making courageous choices, I send out a free text message Monday through Friday to my caring, courageous change agents community. And so it is those who are caring leaders, who are change agents, who want to make the world a better place and are willing to take the courageous steps to do so. I send those out. I'm going to just pull one up that was about the mission statement so that you can see it if you are watching. And that will also give you the number to sign up. And that one reads, creating a personal mission statement is a magical decision. Knowing your vision leads to laser focus and precision. Text me at 919-647-7450 to receive daily courage candy. I'll read that out to you one more time. 919-647-7450 to receive daily courage candy. What we're doing is having a weekly theme. The theme for this week was consistency. Last week was mission and vision. Next week, we're talking all about distractions. So, if you need to get better with distractions, if you want to be motivated around that topic, let me know. Sign up for Courage Candy. We definitely want you in our community. And I'll just leave you with the Courage Candy that I shared this Monday. The largest tree in the world, a giant sequoia tree in California, stands at 274.9 feet. It's estimated that sequoias only grow about 2 feet per year. So I want to encourage you, don't stop sowing and growing. Consistency wins in the end. This tree at almost 275 feet only grows 2 feet per year. If you can start making more consistent and courageous choices every day, you can get to the point where you are not predictable, or if you are predictable, right, you're predictable in a good way, that they know you are going to advocate for yourself and others and inclusion and equity. You will not be predictable like this scenario the lady shared, where she was going to stay and be treated horribly. So if you want to be in spaces where you're celebrated, not tolerated, you need to make more courageous decisions. I can't wait to talk to you soon. Have a great day.